It's beginning to feel a lot like Xmas. Xmas, why can't you just say Christmas? Well, interestingly enough, Xmas was the preferred way of saying Christmas for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years because the X in the Greek alphabet is the sign chi, chi, which is the beginning of the idea of Christus, which means the anointed one, the Messiah. Hello, Barry Shaw here, the ambassador of joy, and we're talking about I'm curious about Xmas. Let's discuss Xmas from the point of view of American involvement, but we have to understand a few things about it first so we can really get into the feel and the spirit and the wondrousness of this amazing time of the year, the most wonderful time of the year. First of all, what is not Xmas? Xmas is not, get ready, drum roll, the birth of Jesus, the Messiah, the Prince of Peace. It's not. Almost every historian agrees that if there was a birth, it was in the springtime. But be that as it may, it doesn't matter because the popular conception, excuse the pun, no, don't excuse the pun, the popular conception is that it is a time of birth. And the reason for that is because Xmas was introduced in the Council of Nicaea around the year 324 of the Common Era, when the Roman Empire was declared a Christian empire, at least in the eastern part, in what was called Byzantium, today called Constantinople, Istanbul, in terms of today. It was Constantinople because of the city of Constantine. But now we're getting a little bit into the weeds. But let's just discuss the point of December 25th had always been a time in the Roman Empire of great celebration, of feasting, almost of bacchanalian feasting. If you know what bacchanalia means, it was a wild party. And it was very common in that time because December 25th was just a few days after the winter solstice. So the winter solstice takes place somewhere around December 21st, 22nd, which in the Northern Hemisphere is the shortest day of the year. So hear this, the shortest day of the year. Dark, foreboding, oftentimes stormy. And by the 25th, i.e. 2-3 days after that event, you can already detect that days are getting longer, just a little bit, but you can feel there's something happening. And that was really the celebration. It was called the Saturnalia, after the planetary god called Saturn. So when the church became the official religion of the then Roman Empire, which was still quite extensive and controlled most of the known peoples of the earth at that time, certainly from in the European all the way to the Iranian, what is called Iran today, and of course throughout North Africa, then it was decided that that would become the beginning of the Christian process. The real essence of Christianity, by the way, has to do with Easter, which we'll talk about when we get to that time when I'm curious about Easter. But right now, let's focus on Xmas. So Xmas is or was the preferred way of saying the holiday until, of course, taken over by English speakers, especially American speakers, because we didn't know the Greek alphabet, the Greek language, and such like that. But certainly in the Greek Orthodox Church, that is still the preferred language. But let's now talk about us in America. And we're going to go a little bit deep for a moment, and then we'll talk about more in the next part of I'm Curious About Xmas Part 2. And just want to make mention that the American experience is very unique when it comes to celebration of this holiday for three reasons. Number one, because we are a commercial people. So it has a very large commercial aspect. Number two, because the earliest settlers in the United States, or what came to be called the United States, were puritanical. And they believed very much in the Bible And in the Bible, there is no mention of the birth of Jesus at around December 25th. So for a number of decades, at least in the New England area under the Puritans, 1659 to about 1680, 81, it was illegal to celebrate Xmas, at least the way we do today. And the third reason is, or the third unique part of it, is that it is today a universal holiday in the United States of America, less and less religious orientation over the decades. More's the pity, in my humble opinion. But we'll talk about that on part 2. So our blessing for you at the moment is go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas.